This week on That's How I Roll, we announce the winner of our New Year's contest. We launch a new contest very, very soon. We've had snow days and lots of gaming, and we're also going to take a trip on the Freedom Trail with the Underground Railroad. All that and more on this week's That's How I Roll.
Buckle up. It's time for That's How I Roll with Jeremiah Isley, a podcast about the games we play and the lives we live. That's How I Roll is presented by Theology of Games. Visit theologyofgames.com for the latest in tabletop gaming, news, reviews, and interviews. And now, here's Jeremiah.
Hey. Well, it is me. It's Jeremiah. How's everybody doing out there? Welcome to another episode of That's How I Roll. It's 108. I want to say, yeah, we have some cool stuff for you today. Like I said, that contest for the copy of Hero Realms and Star Realms Frontiers has come to an end. That's why this episode's a little bit late this week. I wanted to just kind of get past that deadline. We'll announce a winner here shortly. And I've got some really exciting news coming up for you here with a new contest that we're going to talk about. And I've done a lot of gaming this week, so I'll talk a little bit about that in the word on the street because I think it's fun to talk about games. Been playing a lot of games with my boys because they had 2 snow days. Well, one of them is actually home on a snow day as well. He had 3 because the school building didn't have heat. Imagine that. So let's get into things. That's a little bit of what you can expect today. I'm also going to do a review. This actually ties in really nicely to things that have been going on. I'm in the middle of a run. I think I mentioned it last week, a show about Harriet Tubman and the Underground Railroad and that time in history, which I think is just a great story to remember. It's something important that we shouldn't forget. The old saying that unless we remember our history, we're bound to repeat it. So I think it's important to take a look back at those times. So I'm going to review a game that my boys and I played just a few days ago, which is Freedom, the Underground Railroad. It's from Academy Games, and it is a wonderful co-op game about the Underground Railroad, about that time in our history when folks were being enslaved and needed to be freed up north, actually out of the U.S. entirely, because the fugitive slave law was passed, which prohibited people from helping anybody escape. So they couldn't just come north. They had to go all the way up into Canada. We'll talk about it more a little bit later. Let's get on with the show with the word on the street. So today's word on the street, like I said, we've got a winner to pick for our contest, which little look behind the curtain here, I haven't even done yet. So we're going to do it now. I've got my entries pulled up. I've got my contest pulled up. We are going to, I like to roll dice to pick winners, but it just happens that I'm going to let the computer do it today. So what we'll do here, I'm getting to my tab right now. You will find out as I find out live on the show in just a moment here. So yeah, usually like I'll make a list, I'll roll a D12 or a D20 or something like that. But today we're going to just, we're going to let the computer do it so that we can get on with the rest of the show because I've got some exciting things to share with you about this upcoming contest, which is going to be live. If all goes as planned, which it looks like it will be live Monday, February 4th. So stay tuned for all of that. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. But here we go. I'm about to click the magic button that tells us who won this copy of Star Realms Frontiers and Hero Realms, which was provided by our good friends over at White Wizard Games. Check them out. Star Realms is one of my favorite deck builders. I'm actually going to talk about Star Realms Frontiers here in a little bit later in the Word on the Street. because I played it again this week, and it is so good. Man, I just really, really like it. So here we go. I have clicked the button, and the winner is... Are you ready for it? It's coming up here. Here we go. It took a second to think about it. The winner is Alden Shoeneberg. Hey, it's Alden. Alden has been a big-time listener of the show, or the podcast, or the site, whatever you want to call it. He's been a fan of Theology of Games for a long time. I've actually met him once, so this is really cool. I like it when cool things happen to cool people. So Alden Shoeneberg, good times for you, my friend. He said that his goal was to play, let me see, it's not showing me the whole caption on the thing, play 120 different games, and there was something else more in that post that the lovely computer system isn't showing me. But Alden, thank you for being a fan, thank you for listening, and thanks for entering. You have won yourself a copy of Star Realms Frontiers and Hero Realms from White Wizard Games. Super awesome. Now, let's talk about this next contest. Now that one's out of the way, let's just move on. Like, the corpse is not even cold, right? That contest was just laid to rest, and we are on to the next one, because here's the thing. This contest is unreal. It is going to blow your socks off. So here's the contest, and here's how you will be able to enter. The contest is for... I got to shout out the wonderful people at Gamelyn Games. Go back. I've interviewed Michael Coe twice on this show. He's the founder of Gamelyn Games. He's a great guy. I've known him for a long time just through gaming and seeing him at Origins and different cons over the years. He is just one of the good guys out there in the industry. And his buddy Nathan Hatfield, who works with him, he's one of his marketing guys. We've been talking over. I said, we're ready to invest in this a little more. We're going to do some good marketing pushes for a contest, but we got to have a good prize, right? We don't want to throw money at, giving away a filler game or a micro game or something like that. Like, we want something we can sink our teeth into. Like, what do you got? What can you do for us? And they blew me away. So the prize is every Tiny Epic game. Not only that, it's every deluxe version of every Tiny Epic game that there is. Now, I will have to say, Tiny Epic Mechs is not included in this because it's not yet out. So we weren't able to work that out for it to be in there. But it does include Tiny Epic Zombies, which is the newest that is available. So here's the list of what it includes. It's Tiny Epic Kingdoms, Heroes Call, which is the sort of sequel expansion to Kingdoms, Defenders Dark World, which again is the sequel that includes the item meeples that are in Quest, Tiny Epic Galaxies, and Beyond the Black, which is again another expansion sequel to Tiny Epic Galaxies, Tiny Epic Western, Tiny Epic Quest, and Tiny Epic Zombies. Not only that, so that's 10 games, right? So that's what? 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 9 games. Plus, you are going to get the Game Haul, which is the custom bag that will hold all of your Tiny Epic games. That is, in toto, it is a $300 value. That's right. So Gamelyn Games, they stepped up to the plate and they hit it out of the park for us. We're giving away this $300 prize pack. here in the month of February. It'll be shipped worldwide, so there's no exclusion wherever you're listening. I know folks listen in Japan and in the UK and sort of the Europe region in general. So you folks that are out there listening across the seas, get in on this. There's no restrictions on shipping. It's super, super awesome. I'm very, very stoked about this. So check that out. Here's how you can enter. We will have a landing page put up. All you got to do, it's very easy. Just go to theologyofgames.com. I'll put a link in the show notes that will actively take you to the right page starting on Monday, February 4th. Just go there. You're going to click on the button that says enter the contest for this great giveaway. Click on that button, and it's going to take you to a page where there's all the different ways you can enter. It'll be things like you can follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook. You can tweet out certain things. You can subscribe to our podcasts. There's going to be, I don't know, probably a dozen different ways that you can gain entries. These will all give you, 1 entry or 2 entries or however we finalize that weight. You'll also be able to refer people. So if you refer folks, they click on your link, they enter the contest, boom, you've got more entries as well. So there's going to be a ton of different ways that you can enter, and it's going to be super easy. You just go to theologyofgames.com, get in there, enter the contest, and if you win, this amazing prize will be shipped right to your door. How about that? I'm so stinking excited. It's going to be amazing. Now, I got to tell you a little bit about my life this week, because this is the show about the games we play and the lives we live. So we didn't actually have, I said snow days in the cold open there, but it's actually, we had cold days. We're in Ohio, and I know there are other cities and other states that had it way worse than we did, but we were sub-zero, tinkering with like negative 10 degrees outside. Wind chills were down and, sub 20s. It was really frigid here. So the schools said, you know what? We're not making kids stand on bus stops. We're not making kids walk to school in this. We're closing down. They actually called it Tuesday. They said, don't come back till Friday, right? They said, we're just shutting down for 2 days. Forget it. And so that, I was home with all 3 kids both days. My wife still had to go to her office, unfortunately. But we did get some gaming in. And actually before that, I got some gaming in. I got to play a game of Orleans with my game group. We played Innis, which is a really cool card drafting area control type game. And we played Star Realms Frontiers. Or no, I'm sorry. That night we played Star Realms, just the regular version of it. It had some of like the heroes or the captains and a few other promo cards and smaller expansions in it. Had a great time. I didn't win any game that night, but I love Orleans. It's one of my top 3, top 5, top 3 games. Great game. And then my boys and we played some games. Also, I introduced them to Orleans, and they loved it. They really, really enjoyed it, which made me so happy because it's on our 10x5 board, and I was hoping that they would enjoy it. I hoping that they would grasp everything. They killed it. They loved it. They knew what to do. My youngest, I guess he's my middle son now, had a little strategy hiccup. He didn't really start earning points, so he didn't score as many, but we've talked that through, and now he knows really the way to go about scoring points and not just collecting monks the entire game. So there's that. And we played Star Realms Frontiers, and here's the thing, playing Star Realms and then playing Frontiers almost, just a day or so afterwards, man, I love Star Realms, but I think Frontiers is so much better. I really, really enjoy it. The cards, it's just, hey, Star Realms, they came out with it. They designed it. They developed it. It's a wonderful game. Don't get me wrong. That's all we had to play. And I said, you could play that or nothing. Of course, I'm going to play Star Realms because it's great. It's a really, really good deck building game. But they've had years now to develop and think about cards and the way that they interact and the synergy. And they really, they really killed it with Star Realms Frontiers. It's so, so good. So that was exciting to play as well. And then the last game that we've played over this break is the one that I'm about to review, which is Freedom, the Underground Railroad from Academy Games. So let's imagine you're traveling through a dark old swamp. Cypress trees high above your head, the ground below your feet all spongy wet, crawling with water moccasins. The hoot owls are hooting, the crickets are cricketing, but you've got your ears stretched to hear the howling of the dogs that your master keeps to hunt down runaway slaves. You got no escape. The back-breaking work, the whippings, the selling of your family away from each other just ain't tolerable. You can't see your hand in front of your face because the night is darker than the inside of a bullfrog. You've never been further than an hour's walk from the cabin you were born in, and only then in the daytime. And here you are, twixt life and death. What you gonna do? Well, I'm here to tell you, your best chance is a ticket on the Underground Railroad. The Underground Railroad wasn't no railroad at all, nor was it underground. The Underground Railroad was just people, preachers, shopkeepers, farmers, both black and white. All religions, too. Quakers, Jews, Dunkers, Unitarians and Wesleyan Methodists, and even Roman Catholics. They all hid runaway slaves in their cellars, their schoolhouses and stables, in tunnels and secret rooms, under feather beds, helping them move along north to freedom. And that's what this game really feels like. It's a cooperative game. You play with each other. You're playing against the game that controls slave catchers that are constantly moving towards you as you are trying to escape with these slaves up north, up into Canada. There's cards that come out. There's cards that you can buy. The goal of the game really is just there's a certain amount of slaves that need to be freed, but you also have to buy tokens that sort of represent support of your cause. If you don't change the public opinion, you still don't win the game at the end of the game. When slaves are captured, they get put back onto the auction block. And the auction block, after every round, the auction block gets moved into the plantation spaces on the board. So anywhere that there's not room for another slave, that slave gets lost, which is basically a euphemism for killed. So the game theme is super heavy, right? It is a historical thing that happened, and the game is handled in such a wonderful, wonderful way that it represents with great dignity the people that had this struggle. It represents this time in history and the people who were both fighting against and fighting for slavery. It in no way makes you feel creeped out or in a way that you're like, oh my gosh, I'm a part of the problem. Like, you're not taking on that role at all, which I really appreciated. Obviously, I think it would be in very poor taste to make this like an asymmetrical game where somebody is controlling the slave hunters and everybody else is trying to help. You are playing against the game. The game is time based. You're moving through these eras in time and in history. All the cards that come out are all very much historical events or people that can help you in a way that are all accurate to the history of the time. So one of the things that happens with this is as you're playing the game, there's going to be times when you're just going to lose slaves. And I played this with my boys, and honestly, we really messed up around. And we were looking at, there was at least 6 or 7 slaves that were going to be lost. And I remember looking at my oldest son, and he's almost tearing up because he understands what that meant historically, like when this was going to happen. And it was just it wasn't a great moment, but it was a great moment because we could talk about what that meant and what it was that we were trying to do together. And we were trying to help people that needed our help. And so this game is great. I can't recommend it enough. I love co-op games. I love the teamwork aspect. I love how you work together to compete against something and you try to win and you try to have a common goal. But this one, just because of the lessons that can be learned from it, because of the importance of the story and the history that is wrapped up in this game, it's so good. My kids want to play it again so bad because we lost. We lost the game, and it was unfortunate, and we were, we weren't like depressed all night, but we were like, we got to play that again. So they're like super excited to play it again. And I can't get enough of it. There's a solo variant that you can play, so you can play 1 to 4 players. There's also, it says that the play time's about 90 minutes, and that was pretty accurate. For our first time, we played it in just a little under 90 minutes. So it's a medium weight game. Mechanically, it's not super hard or not super difficult. There's not a lot of housekeeping and things like that in between rounds. Everything flows and makes sense really, really well. But I highly, highly recommend this. I think everybody should have this game. It's so important. It's such a great lesson. It's such an important time in history. And it's a wonderful way to learn these lessons and learn more about that time in history through playing this game. So kudos, bravo to Academy Games for putting this together in such a great and dignified and wonderful way. I'm really, really excited to say that this game is in my collection. All right, well, that is going to do it. Thanks so much for listening. Get in on the contest. Congratulations to Alden for winning this last contest, but the big one's coming. Look for it coming up this Monday. If you're already listening and it's past Monday, get on it because time's a wasting. You got to get in there and get on this game, this contest, because it's so huge. It's so awesome. I'm so excited about it. Want to thank, I got to shout out the playwright, Gay Monteverde, who wrote Harriet Tubman, An American Moses. I read a sort of a abbreviated and spliced together excerpt from that show as my sketch for Freedom, the Underground Railroad. So shout out to the fine people that put that script together. And let's see, what else do I have to say? Don't forget, check out all of our other podcasts, Board Games Daily, the Theology of Games podcast. Just go to theologyofgames.com. You'll get in on the contest. You'll find all the things that we do, including our written blog, our podcasts, and our Patreon page. And if you want to get in on the show, if you have comments, questions, concerns, whatever it is, let me know them. Call 216-352-3864. I would love to hear from you and love to have you in the show. Thanks so much for listening. I'm going to get out of here. Don't forget, you better get in on that contest. I'm Jeremiah Isley, and that's how I roll.
Thanks for rolling with us today. That's How I Roll is produced by Jeremiah Isley and brought to you by Theology of Games. If you liked what you heard today, take a minute to subscribe, rate, and review us on iTunes. Thanks for tuning in and drive safe.